What a way to mark yourselves as the world champions. Ladies and gentlemen, Spain have come out 1-0 victors over Argentina in the World Cup final, making Spain your world champions for the second time in their history. A second star on the jersey of La Roja. I'm sorry this video is coming out late. I actually recorded this yesterday, right after the game. But of course, my file got corrupted, as it tends to do these past few weeks. And here we are. But I knew I would have to get this video out to you guys. There was no way I was not going to talk about this World Cup final, the brilliance of Spain, the disappointment of Argentina, the end of Lionel Messi at this elite level that he's had for the last 20, 25 years, and ultimately the new age that international football is going into. So let's get right into it. First team I want to start off with is Spain, and rightfully so. Spain, World Cup champions, and today you look at the performance from them, or not even today, yesterday, you look at that performance from the team. Argentina had 2 shots the entire game. Spain held Argentina to 0 shots in 90 minutes. Spain were dominant throughout the game. Spain's counter-pressing was incredible. Spain's ability to keep Argentina penned back in their own half, in their own box, was suffocating. I think so many players on that field today, or yesterday, sorry, the likes of Rodri, the likes of Pedri, who came onto the field. Dani Olmo, I thought he had a very, very good game yesterday. Made incisive runs, was one of the few players, in my opinion, in that Spanish team, at least in the first half, trying to make something happen. Oyarzabal didn't have his best game. Alex Baena didn't have his best game. Both of them were pretty useless, in my opinion. But I think the substitutions of Luis de la Fuente was key. It was key for Spain. Ferran Torres coming off the bench. We'll give him his name for today, normally known as number 7 on this channel. But when you score a World Cup winning goal, you deserve to be called by your full name. Ferran Torres with a huge goal. Nico Williams coming off the bench. I think he offered so much dynamism, and it's a shame that he wasn't fit for this entire tournament. But ultimately, Spain came out victors in the end. Pedri, who hasn't had the best of tournaments, I'll say it for free. I'm probably Pedri's biggest fan. But Pedri hasn't been great in this tournament, and rightfully so. He was sent to the bench for Fabian Ruiz. But I think him coming on, especially against that Argentina team who were so deep, who had 10 men, who really had no avenue to Spain's goal, because Spain kept the ball so well throughout the game, even before Argentina went down to 10 men. And they should have gone down to 9 men. Look at the theatrics of Leandro Paredes throughout the game. How he wasn't sent off earlier in this game, I will never know. But I think Spain, this performance, once again, just shows you the ethos of this country from the grassroots level, from the youth academy. You look at someone like Lamine Yamal and Pau Cubarsí, elite players in their own rights. But these are 2 guys who came up through La Masia. These are 2 guys who played alongside each other at the age of 11, 12, 13. These are 2 guys who are born and bred in Barcelona. They know the way of playing football in Spain. They know the way of playing football in Barcelona. Luis de la Fuente, you have to give him a lot of credit. Back-to-back major international trophies. Spain's first major international trophy since that incredible run from 2008 to 2012. And this tournament, the run they've had in this tournament is akin to that performances that we saw in 2010, where they had the superstars, they had the great names, the Iniestas, the Xavis, but the performances weren't electrifying. They weren't entertaining. They weren't the most brilliant side to watch, but they got things done. They got the results. 1-0, 1-0, 1-0. I remember 1-0 against the Netherlands, of course, in the final. 1-0 against Germany, Carlos Puyol header. Those are the games you need to win. And we saw it at the start of the tournament. Spain were really poor. They were really poor against Cape Verde. And you have to give Cape Verde a lot of credit, because they're the only teams who were able to restrict Spain and Argentina, 2 finalists yesterday, to not winning in 90 minutes. They're the only 2 teams. And when you looked at those early performances, the game against Saudi Arabia, the poor performance against Uruguay, that was generally one of the worst games I'd watched in this tournament. I looked at Spain and I said, you look like you're lacking it. Lamine Yamal didn't look particularly fit. Nico Williams was struggling with fitness, came back and even got injured again. Alex Baena, guys, this guy doesn't do anything for Spain, in my opinion. Mikel Oyarzabal is a patchy player. One game he's good, next game he's useless. So I looked at Spain and I said, you have all the foundation, you have the defense, you have the midfield that keeps the ball incredibly well, but you don't have that attacking edge, in my opinion. That attacking edge that kind of separated this iteration of Spain from that 2010 iteration where the team was filled with midfielders. Now you had a Nico Williams, you had a Lamine Yamal that added that dynamism amidst the calm and the tempo setting of your Rodris and your Pedris and Fabian Ruizes. You had those chaotic players who could make the game into a basketball match. But with Lamine struggling with fitness and Nico likewise, I looked at Spain and I thought, maybe it might not be their year, especially with the way France were playing. But we talked about in the last video, Spain throughout this tournament have made easy work of everybody they've played against. Easy work of everybody they've played against. Comfortable throughout this, completely comfortable throughout this knockout stages. The only team that they conceded to was Belgium, conceding only 1 goal throughout the tournament. Unai Simon keeping 7 clean sheets. You have to give him credit. This is a goalkeeper that a lot of people criticized. They said, why is he starting ahead of David Raya? Why is he starting ahead of Joan Garcia? 2 goalkeepers, in my opinion, that are both better than him. But Luis de la Fuente knew. Luis de la Fuente has his favorites. And you can't mark him. Because this is now 2 international tournaments, and he's won both. 15 games, 14 wins, 1 draw. So you have to give credit to Spain. You have to give credit to the federation for what they've built, not just in the men's team, but in the youth team, as well as the women's team. This is a philosophy. This is an ethos that the entire nation adopts and believes in. And you look at the words of someone like Lamine Yamal early in the tournament. And Lamine Yamal, sometimes when I talk about Lamine Yamal to certain people, Lamine Yamal for me, alongside the likes of Rodri, and I feel like there are players in football that you need like this, where not only are they great players, but they have that personality. Jude Bellingham is likewise. Not only do they have that ability to play at an elite level, but they carry that mentality that they believe they're at the elite level. You look at the quotes of Lamine Yamal coming into this tournament. He's talking about it on his YouTube channel. These tournaments are long. And Lamine Yamal didn't have his best tournament. It's a shame in my opinion, because I think, of course, Lamine is already, in my opinion, one of, if not the best player in the world. But I think if you had an elite tournament, it would have really just sent you into that next echelon. But unfortunately, he didn't get to have that, struggle with injuries. And just as he was starting to find his pace, the tournament's coming to an end, right? But his role in this team is very important because he drags people out of position. He allows Spain to kind of pin back defenders, attract, the attention of multiple defenders at once, allowing people like Nico Williams on the other side to cause havoc. And which is why I thought it would be very important that he plays in the Spanish national team. But back to the point that I was making, I think players like that, they instill a mentality within the team. Even like you look at some of the interviews that Lamine and Nico are doing, and they're asking Lamine, are you going to win the World Cup? They're asking him, is France better than you? They're asking him, what do you think about the French national team and the players that they have? And he says, yeah, we respect them. We respect all the players, but they're not better than us because they haven't proven that they're better than us. We've played France 2 times before and we've beaten them 2 times. So why do we believe that we should be scared of them? Why do we believe that they're better than us? Okay, yeah, they got to a World Cup final the last time, but they didn't play against us. And you can have respect for your opposition, but you should also have that delusion or that belief or that arrogance or that confidence that you're better than them. And Lamine has that. I mean, they're asking him, what about the French players, Doué, Lamine, Mbappe, Dembele? And he says, well, what about us? And that's the question you should be asking. What about us? Because now it's 3 times in a row France have played Spain, and Spain have won every single time. Spain have won every single time. And he carries that same mentality to Barcelona. He carries that same mentality. Even Pau Cubarsí, they're interviewing him talking about Mbappe, and he says he's ready. Yes, Mbappe, we respect him. He's a great player, one of the best in the world, if not the best. But we believe that we can handle him. And he did handle him. Pau Cubarsí winning young player of the tournament, and rightfully so for me. You look at the way he's been implemented in this team, being able to play out of the back, find those diagonal balls, play incisive line-breaking passes, and not having to run 40, 50 yards back every single time he has to defend. Hansi Flick, I hope you're watching. Top player. And I think a lot of people forget just how good Pau Cubarsí is just because he plays in the same team as Lamine Yamal, both for club and country. So he takes all the headlines. But don't forget about Cubarsí, man. That guy's top player. Yes, he has his deficiencies. Yes, he's not the strongest. Yes, he's a bit prone to mistakes aerially. He's not the tallest. He's not the most physically demanding. But guys, this guy's 19 years old. Give him a few years, he's going to stock up. Give him a few years, he'll be able to wisen up. Realize, okay, I'm a bit iffy in these areas. How can I elevate my strengths to make up for it? Incredible tournament for him. Only conceded 1 goal, part of a defense that was impenetrable in this tournament. But as I said, the words from him, the words from Lamine, even the way Rodri speaks, we know about Rodri. You know the way he carries himself. That instills confidence in an entire team because you believe in what you do in the training field. You believe in your manager. You believe in your teammates. As I said, Lamine didn't have his best tournament, but he didn't need to have his best tournament because the system, the team, this is a team tournament. This is a team trophy. This is a team triumph. Every single one of those players who represented Spain in this tournament, they played their role. And they played their role to a very, very, very good team. The defense was impenetrable, as I mentioned. Pedro Porro, Marco Correa, who's now going to Real Madrid, still cannot believe that Barcelona let that guy go scot-free. Fabian Ruiz came into the team when he needed to, did excellently. Pedri, When he saw that he wasn't playing at his best level, when he saw that he was dropped to the bench, he didn't complain. When he needed to come into the team and make an impact, he did that. Dani Olmo struggles with Barcelona, struggles with injuries, but for Spain, you know he's going to turn up. Zubamendi comes on for Rodri in the extra time of the World Cup final, and it's like nothing changes. It doesn't matter. Nothing changes. That's not to discredit Rodri. We'll come to talk about him. But it's a system. It's a routine. It's a machine. These guys know what they're doing. And they were the much, much better side. I'm not really talking about the game, in my opinion, because there wasn't really much to discuss. Spain were the better team. Messi couldn't get into the game. Argentina were poor throughout. Enzo Fernandez, ridiculous decision to get sent off. The first decision for the yellow card was stupid from him. And the second decision was even worse. Just a lackadaisical performance from Argentina from start to finish. And at the end of the day, Spain take home the trophy. And Rodri goes home with the Golden Ball award. In my opinion, he didn't deserve the award. I'm gonna caveat this discussion with two things, right? Because on one hand, I don't believe Rodri deserved that Golden Ball. I think Mbappe was better than him. I think Messi was better than him. But I do believe Rodri was one of the best players in this tournament, one of the most consistent, and one of the highest level in this tournament. So I'm not aggrieved at the decision. I'm not going to lose sleep at night because Rodri won the Golden Ball. Fair enough, right? I think it is an element of winning bias, the team that won. So you have to give the best player award to a player in the team that won. But I don't think he was the best player. I think you look at that performance 2 days ago or yesterday from Argentina, and you see the way that they played when Lionel Messi could not get into the game. I think that tells you everything you need to know about who the best player in this tournament was. Yes, Mbappe did everything he did. He scored 10 goals. I mean, stat padding 2 goals in that shameless third match game against England was shameless, man. For everybody involved in that game, shameless from every single one of them. But even Mbappe, you look at the players, the running mates that he has alongside him, Dembele, Olise, Doué, Barcola. It's crazy. Messi was doing it on his ones, bro. Messi was doing it on his ones. But let's not discredit what Rodri has achieved with the Spanish national team. Let's not discredit what he's done in his career. I don't think this Golden Ball changes much, in my opinion. But all it does is just reaffirm to you this World Cup victory. The Golden Ball doesn't do anything for me, but this World Cup victory, captaining your side to winning a World Cup, their first in 16 years, needs to be discussed. And now you're looking at a resume, you're looking at a CV, you're looking at a period in this sport where Rodri has dominated football. Amidst the injury that he suffered, that ACL, he has won the Euros, he has completed international football, he has won Champions League, he has won World Cups, he's won Premier League titles, he's won countless domestic cups, countless FA Cups, Community Shields, Carabao Cups, Super Cups, FIFA Club World Cups, you name it, Rodri has it. And not only is he winning these trophies, he's at the epicenter of it. He is at the epicenter of it. When Manchester City signed him from Atletico Madrid, the discussion was, would he be able to take on the role of Fernandinho? He's done that and then some. So I really just want to give a lot of credit to Rodri Hernandez because this 5-year, 6-year peak we're seeing from him ever since he signed with Manchester City, ever since he was adopted by Pep Guardiola. Now you start asking the question, where does this rank him in the all-time debates? I think sometimes it's difficult to really visualize and understand how good a player is when they're still playing. But some people are saying he's better than Busquets. I don't think it's crazy to say. What I will say, though, I grew up on Busquets, so maybe I'm a bit nostalgic in this sense. People were saying, oh, well, Rodri is the A side of this midfield. Rodri is the best player in the midfield. Rodri is carrying the midfield. Busquets never did that, is what they say. To combat that narrative, I will say, when you have Iniesta and Xavi ahead of you, you don't need to do that. And I wholeheartedly believe if Rodri had an Iniesta and a Xavi in front of him, I don't think you would be talking about Rodri. That's not to say Rodri isn't a great player, but you're talking about Xavi and Iniesta here. When you were looking at that Manchester City team who had Kevin De Bruyne, David Silva, no one was talking about Fernandinho. Even when Rodri was just coming in, and Rodri has been elite, in my opinion, since about 2020, Kevin De Bruyne was the A side of that midfield. Right? Bernardo Silva was talked about in that midfield up until you'd say when he started diminishing around 2022, 2023, and Rodri really started to pick it up and Rodri started to play a bigger role when KDB started having injuries. But he was not the A side of that midfield until about 2023. So I do believe in that argument. Busquets didn't have to be the A side. Whether he would have been able to do that, we don't know, right? That's a hypothetical. We can talk about that till the cows come home because there's no certainty. It never happened. But that's the only thing I would say. But for those saying that he's better than Busquets already, I don't think it's crazy to say. Because this stretch we've had from Rodri Hernandez, incredible. Truly, truly incredible. So once again, congratulations to Spain. They have been the best team in this tournament. They have been the best team in football for the last 2 years, and it was pretty comfortable. It was dominant. It wasn't entertaining. It was definitely not one of the best World Cup finals I've seen. It was definitely one of the World Cup finals. It wasn't one of the best. It was definitely one of the World Cup finals. But at the end of the day, they won't care. They're flying back to Madrid. They're having fun. Lamine Yamal is dancing. Gavi is singing. Ferran Torres is celebrating. Fermin Lopez is joining the parade. I'm so sad for him that he had to miss out on this opportunity due to that injury just at the last moment. But the whole of Spain will be celebrating. Madrid fans won't care about Barcelona players who won it. Barca fans won't care about Real Madrid. Everybody's celebrating in Spain, and rightfully so. The best team in the world by a country mile. And in terms of best teams, that's when you have to come on and discuss the former champions, Argentina. Now, I'll start with the bad because there's the good and the bad with Argentina, right? And I'm a Barcelona fan, so coming into this final, I couldn't really lose. Either Messi went back to back. I grew up idolizing Messi, loving Messi. He was the epicenter of my footballing childhood. Or my Barcelona boys, 8 of them in total, go on and win a World Cup, bring that confidence back to the camp, and we go for that Champions League next season. Hansi Flick, I'm looking at you. You have 8 world champions coming back. You better rise up, man. But on the tone of Argentina, that final performance was pathetic, man. And it's a shame, right? Because you look at the performances throughout the tournament, and I said in my last video, this Argentina team is not good. They're not good, and I wanted to give them the benefit of the doubt because, you know, they're in a World Cup final. Anything can happen in 90 minutes or, as it would go, 120 minutes. But my goodness, that Argentina team is not good. And I think anybody who'd watched the games could very clearly tell that they were not good. And it was one man that was carrying them out throughout, and that was Lionel Messi. And today, Lionel Messi's the magic man, ran out of tricks. Unfortunately for him and unfortunately for all Messi fans around the world. Because today, yesterday, Argentina could not do anything. Long balls was pointless. Lionel Scaloni's substitutions were questionable. The starting 11 was abysmal. The players in the starting 11 who have been so loyal to Scaloni and given him such great determination and such great relentlessness and such great performances for the last 5 years now were poor. Enzo Fernandez, who's been great throughout the tournament, this final performance has pretty much thrown away all goodwill he might have mustered throughout. And that's the sad thing about football. You make one big moment, you have one bad decision, you have one moment of madness, and people forget all the good you've done. I'm not here to defend Enzo Fernandez. I particularly don't really care about Enzo Fernandez as a footballer. But it's a shame because he had a very good tournament. But that moment of madness, if you thought Argentina had any chance of winning the game, that completely killed those hopes. Leandro Paredes, likewise, was equally pathetic in this game. Resorted to more fighting than actually playing a football. Tagliafico, likewise. Giuliano Simeone, I've said it on this channel many times. I said it when Atletico beat Barcelona. He is not a footballer. He is a UFC fighter masquerading as a professional footballer. Nicolas Gonzalez, once again, Argentina needed width in this team throughout the tournament. And Nicolas Gonzalez and Giuliano Simeone are your only options, and they're both bang average footballers. So I think Argentina even getting this far is a testament once again to Lionel Messi and how great he is. I think this is a squad that desperately needs revamping, desperately needs a rebuild, desperately needs fresh blood. And you look at the squad that they brought to this tournament, pretty much the exact same squad, barring a few players here and there that they had in 2022. And we wondered whether that experience would be able to cross over. But I think you could just see in this tournament, in moments, in areas, yes, they had that experience, they had that determination to always fight back against Cape Verde, against Egypt, and surprisingly against England. But when you played that really, 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 really close to the sun football, pretty much on the precipice of death itself against Spain, you will not come out on the good side. You will not. And Lionel Scaloni, it should be interesting to see where Argentina go from here. Their magic man, their god, as they call him, Lionel Messi, this is his last time. And Lionel Messi, you see him at the end of the game, he goes to the fans and he stands there and he takes the embrace. He cries, probably not because he lost this final, right? But because this is the last time we'll see Lionel Messi at the peak level with Argentina. And in some aspects, it's a shame. In some aspects, it's disappointing. Because being a Lionel Messi fan, I would always want Lionel Messi to come out on top in any game of football. But I think today was one step too far, or yesterday was one step too far. This is a team that he has carried for the last 20 years, a team that has only been relevant because of Lionel Messi for the last 20 years, and God knows where they're going to go after he's gone. But I just want to talk on Lionel Messi, the man himself, the player himself. Thank you. Lionel Messi will never watch this video. Anybody related to Lionel Messi will never watch this video. But thank you to Lionel Messi. Thank you for the UCL nights where we beat the likes of Bayern Munich. The UCL nights where he twisted Jerome Boateng. Don't forget the nights 1, 2, 3. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful at the Bernabeu. Don't forget the last minute goal that had Ray Hudson sounding suspicious on broadcast. Don't forget the goals in La Liga that left you with your jaw on the ground. Don't forget the disappointments against Chile, the disappointment against Germany, and don't forget the elation in the Champions League final in Berlin, in Rome, in Wembley, in Paris. Don't forget the ecstasy in Qatar. Don't forget the 8 Ballon d'Ors. Don't forget the moments where we were allowed to dream because of Lionel Messi. Don't forget the near misses, the Liverpool first legs. Don't forget the magical moments, the PSG comeback. Don't forget any of this. I certainly will. I certainly will not. Because Lionel Messi will always be at the epicenter of my footballing life, my footballing childhood, my footballing experience. Because Lionel Messi allowed Barcelona to dream. Lionel Messi allowed me to dream. Lionel Messi allowed fans around the world to believe that anything was possible as long as Lionel Messi had the ball at his feet. An icon of the game, one of the best, if not the greatest player of all time, could have really cemented that with a second World Cup, but it wasn't meant to be. And I'll finish it off with a wonderful quote from Lionel Messi himself. He said, "Thank you, God. I can only thank God for all that we've done till this point. We've made it to another final. Thank God. I cannot ask God for much more because I have asked him for too much." Lionel Messi, I cannot ask you for much more because all I've asked for, you've met it and then some. Thank you, Messi. Thank you, Argentina. I clean my hands off of you guys. You're on your own now. But ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the World Cup coverage. As I said in my last video, I'm very, very, very sorry I wasn't able to get as many videos as I could have to you guys throughout this tournament. It's been an incredible tournament. It's been an incredible festival of football. We've had moments of politics. We've had moments of brilliant underdog stories. We've had big superstars performing. We've had shocking results. We've had moments of drama. We've had moments of upset. We've had tragedy. And this tournament has continued to inspire. This tournament has continued to unite. This tournament has continued to evoke emotion. And this tournament will continue to do so. Damn it, I love this sport. Thank you guys so much for watching. Videos will not stop. We will be back to discuss the new season as it approaches, transfers, managers, and a whole lot more. Let me know the type of videos you guys would like to see as the new season kicks off in just less than a month. Thank you guys so much for watching. Take care of yourselves. Congratulations to Spain, and goodbye.